Hi guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we have a early impression video, and the video is going to be on a sample fragrance that was sent to me by DL Qualia. So mate, thank you very much. I really appreciate your generosity in sending me these. And you know, before we do this, I actually have a little bit of a bonus for you guys because, as I've mentioned in a few of my other videos, I've kind of been on a bit of a spree because I've got some really good deals that I just couldn't say no to. So I have 3 boxes that we are going to do an unboxing of. And so these 3 boxes, one of them, I have an idea what it is. One of them is another free sample sent to me by one of you guys. This is from Duncan, who goes by the tag or the handle famous YouTuber. And one of them, I have no clue what's in this, so this is just a bit of a mystery. So before we talk about my first impressions on Roja Parfums Amber Aoud, I want to do the unboxing. Let's do the one that I know what it is first. So basically, what spurred this is I've been looking on Mercari more and more. By the way, while I'm opening this, in case you guys are wondering why I'm wearing a shirt and a tie, a tight shirt and tie, I've put on some weight in the last couple years. We are having a father-daughter dance tonight in our neighborhood. So my 2-year-old's gonna be all dressed up, and I figured I better look the part as well, so that ought to be fun. And she loves music, so I think this should be fun for her. But hence the tie. If you don't know, or if some of you know that know me, some of you don't. But I used to dress like this all the time when I used to go to an office. But ever since COVID, I've been working from home, and so that's why you just kind of see me in polos and a sweatpants. But this is a backup sealed bottle of Lagerfeld cologne, and this is the Bethco version. This is a 60 ml splash that he told me he opened it just to show the bottle on the pictures. That other than that, it's never been opened. So let me show you the bottle. So this is a splash bottle, okay, and you can see the older writing. This is a Bethco, yes, Parfums Bethco. Well, it's Parfums Lagerfeld, but it's distributed by Bethco, just like mine. My bottle is, I love this bottle. I have a new version. It's not bad, but they can't recreate what this had. This had a very masculine fragrance underneath all the warm, you know, has this orangey, ambery feel. But that masculine fragrance underneath was lost in the new formulation. So I love this fragrance so much that whenever I found that, oh, I can tell this hasn't been opened. Okay, so whenever I found that, it smells divine. Whenever I found that I could get this 60 ml bottle on Mercari for $40, I just couldn't say no, because it's such a steal for what you're getting. So now I have my vintage Lagerfeld backed up, and I am very happy about that. By the way, if you've never smelled the vintage version of Lagerfeld, if you can find the one that says Parfums Lagerfeld only, or if you can find the Bethco one that I have, they're both equally nice. And just look for this writing. I didn't grab my modern bottle, but look for the writing that looks like this, and look for it to say Lagerfeld Cologne. You don't want it to say Lagerfeld Classic. You want it to say Lagerfeld Cologne. I feel like I'm being choked here. So that is the first unboxing. That is something that I was aware of. So that is not a surprise to me. But everything looks good. So no surprises when you make a purchase like that on Mercari is always nice, because one of the previous purchases I made said 2 ounce, but it ended up being a 1.2 ounce, but I think I'm going to keep it anyways because it's a pre-1980s bottle. I could tell by the 80 degrees versus 80%. And so I'm going to keep it. Okay, let's do the one that I don't know what's in here. Let's do a bit of a surprise, shall we? Oh, let's see. Come on, baby. Show me what you got. What do we have here? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Speaking of Lagerfeld, on Mercari, I got these two vintage version Lagerfeld photo. These are the vintage version. You can tell by the writing on them. I have a more modern version that's distributed by Unilever. I'll show you one day. I'll be doing a comparison video on this. I should have grabbed it, but I didn't know what this is, or I would have grabbed the modern one to show you guys and compare. This is Photo, the vintage Eau de Toilette. So as you can, oh, you get back here, baby. Don't you try to run away from daddy. Okay, so as you can see, look at the ingredients. Short ingredient list. Parfums Lagerfeld. The vintage writing. So I'm going to do a comparison on this EDT version of Photo with my Unilever version, which looks gray. It doesn't have the color. The bottles, I think the bigger bottles have like lime green Lagerfeld. It says Lagerfeld in lime green on the bigger bottles. The smaller ones have it in blue. But as long as you find this font, you know, look for the font that looks like the font here on the Lagerfeld box, and not the newer Lagerfeld font, which looks like it does on the new version of Lagerfeld Classic. Okay, so these are very highly sought after. In fact, I saw people selling my version, the Unilever version, for $250, and I was like, whoa! I got mine for like $50 a few years back, because it came in some sort of a set. It was like the cologne and a watch. The watch was broken. I didn't care about the watch. I cared about the cologne, but because it was in a set, somehow I think it was labeled wrong. People ignored it, and I got a 60 ml bottle of Photo unsprayed for like $50. That was a complete steal. Now the prices are insane, but it's the vintage that I hear is so much better. So I'm so happy to be able to do this comparison video for you guys. And look at the, it looks like one of those old school, you know, things around the lens. Back in the day, I remember my father had one of those old cameras like that when I was a kid that you could zoom in and out with the, I don't even know what you call that. But you guys know what I'm talking about. So very excited to be able to compare that. And then let's open Duncan's sample set. So Duncan, again, seriously, thank you very much. That's one thing I've said through some of my videos. You guys have probably heard me say this on other occasions, but I've always been a very reserved person. The reason that I never did videos before is because I always thought, you know, fragrance is something that I kind of enjoyed myself. It's for me. It's for, you know, it's to get me through the day, something my mind can kind of, you know, focus on and zone out on, and I can dissect and all this stuff, right? And so I never really took to necessarily sharing my experiences with you guys. But now that I have, I will say the camaraderie, the generosity, the interest. You know, I got a text message from Rudy today, time to musk up, and he was saying, man, I just tried Tenere based on, you know, you talking about it, and I love it, and I got a 25 ml bottle for $30. That's the kind of stuff that, you know, really just, it kind of keeps me going, you know, it keeps me active and motivated. Now, I am going to have to cut back on the videos when March rolls around. I can't do them every day anymore because I'm going to be going for my CFP, which is going to take a big time commitment away from me. So that's kind of the reason I've been pumping these out as much as I could lately, because I'm gonna have to cut back, or I might have to cut back. We'll see how it all works out. But let's see what bag of goodies he sent me. Very excited to get a bag of goodies from someone like Duncan, who knows his stuff. Look how well wrapped these are. They all have the plumber's tape on them. I mean, top-notch guy, knows his stuff. Awesome. This is awesome. All right, let's see. Here's Man 2. I wonder if that's Two Man by Comme des Garçons. I'll have to do a little bit more digging into this. I'm not sure what Man 2 is. And then we have, ooh, Lancetti Uomo. This is one that's been on my to sniff list for a long time. I almost blind bought it. So again, all of these will get a first impressions video on. Duncan, if you leave a comment below, I'll pin it. So everyone can see and hear your thoughts on some of these. This is Pancaldi, another one I've never tried. And it's plumber taped in, so I'm not gonna mess with trying to smell the cap. Casual Friday, which I actually bought a bottle based on the duck. About 6 months ago, he told me that Casual Friday was Duncan's favorite fragrance. It's an Escada fragrance that was created by, I believe, Dominique Ropion. Yes, Dominique Ropion. And I bought a 125 ml tester off of Aoud just because of that. So thank you, Duncan. You didn't know you influenced me back then, but you did. This is, I see what he did. So, Man 2 is code for something, and this is Woman 2. They must be code. He didn't want me to know what they are, so I could blind sniff them as my guess, unless they actually, that's what they're called, and I'm not familiar with them. We've got Man 2, and we've got Woman 2. So very excited to find out what those are, get my nose on those. And then we've got Man Pure. I'm not sure if these are codes for something. He'll tell us later, if they're just fragrances I'm not familiar with. But seriously, Duncan, thank you, honestly, from all of you guys. DL Qualia with stuff like this. Rich Mitch, I still have 8 samples I haven't tried. I mean, I could do first impression videos for the next 2 months on all the stuff you guys have sent me. So honestly, thank you so much. And Jonathan, I still have samples from Jonathan that I have to do first impressions on. And some of those are awesome, like Ottoman Empire. Like, I'm almost scared to waste the juice, you know what I mean? But let's talk about Amber Aoud. Let's do a fresh spray from this little sample here. And okay, so I don't know if you can see that, the sheen. So Amber Aoud. So first of all, this is not the first time that I've smelled this. This is the first time that I've actually given it a full wear. And I chose it because I wanted to wear something elegant on, you know, the big dance, if you will. And so I picked a Roja. And I know that I have a decant of Roja's regular Aoud, okay? And this stuff, look at the juice color. I've shown this before, but I love showing this stuff. This is one of the most amazing rose fragrances you will smell. If there's oud in this, which if the brand says there's real oud, there's real oud, okay? But if there is in both of these, it's not a heavy Middle Eastern oud. It's not like Oud Maximus, okay? If you're expecting Oud Maximus or Oud Monarch or an oud from a Riche L'Adore, you're going to be disappointed because that's not what you get. There is a very similar creation of the Rose Accord in both of these. And I love the Rose Accord in this one, okay? So because of that, I love the Rose Accord in this one because they share some similarities. So this came out a decade ago, by the way. I should mention that. This came out in 2012 when everyone was doing oud, and rose ouds were very popular. And Roja released 3 at the time. He released the regular Aoud. He released Musk Oud, which sucks in my opinion. That's the worst of the 3. I have a 7.5 ml decant. It is pleasant for about 20-30 minutes, and then it just kind of falls apart on me. And then this one. So for me, I think my favorite, if I were to rank these, I like the regular Aoud, and then Amber Aoud would be a runner-up. Now, this one, you do get a little bit of citruses in the opening, like most Rojas. He built this kind of using a classical accord, if you will, okay? So when you smell a Roja fragrance, if you're familiar with his line of fragrances, you will notice a couple things continue to pop up over and over and over again. He claims to use real ambergris. You know, I don't know if he claims to use real oud in this. He did put a video on YouTube up when these came out, or maybe it was even just a couple years ago, where he was talking about Aoud and how he lived amongst the Middle Eastern people and all that. I don't know if that's true or not. You know, I wish I knew who the perfumer was, I'll tell you that. But needless to say, whoever is creating these fragrances, whether it really is Roja Dove or whether he's a ghost perfumer like Olivier Creed, and there are, you know, perfumers behind the scenes from Robertet or whoever it may be, you know, the rumors were Robertet perfumers were creating his fragrances. They created something for him that is a bit of a signature DNA. Not like a Guerlain, I don't think, but it's more like this floral accord, okay? And usually you get 3 or 4 different fragrances. You get violet, you get ylang ylang, you get jasmine from grass, is what he says, and you get rose de mai, okay? Fragrantica shows rose, ylang, and jasmine in this. There's a big hunk of saffron, I will tell you that. And there's this fruity accord that you get. Now, he says it's fig, okay? If I didn't read fig, would I go, yeah, this has citruses and rose and ylang and jasmine and fig? Probably not. But if you know it's fig, you can see it, okay? It just some sweet fruity accord to kind of round it all out. When you read amber, one thing that you should know is you're not going to get this classical amber made with, you know, labdanum and resins and styrax and all that stuff. Don't expect to get some big ambery, you know, Grand Soir type thing. No, I believe that the amber in this is referencing the ambergris, because what it seems like to me is it seems like they took the original Aoud, which, by the way, let me just pull that up so I can kind of give you a quick comparison. I should have done this beforehand, but these two are very close, okay? Very, very close. And you have to enjoy a floral perfume to enjoy these, which I love a well-done floral fragrance, so I have no problems with that. My scent of the day was going to be, before I decided on this, I was going to wear Taif Rose Extrait, because that's one of the most beautiful rose, you know, fragrances I own. And for, you know, a special day like today, Taif Rose would have been perfect. And if it wasn't for the fact that I needed to get on these samples, that's probably what I would have went with. But I've smelled this before, so I knew that, you know, I knew what I was in for, and I knew it's a beautiful rose fragrance. So the regular Roja's Aoud, just so you know, does not carry the fig note. It still has ambergris and oud, and this one actually says that it has a kick of rhubarb. So instead of fig, they've used rhubarb in this one to make it go in a little bit of a different direction. And this says it has geranium in it, the regular Aoud. The amber Aoud, geranium is missing. Now, I watched a few videos on this just to kind of get what some other YouTube reviewers are saying. And Aaron Terrence Hughes, who I am not a subscriber of his channel, his style puts me off a little bit, to be honest with you. Even if he's correct in everything he says, I just have a problem with the way that he presents it sometimes. Whatever. Call me a hater. Call me whatever you want. But I'm not a subscriber of his channel. But I watched his video begrudgingly, and he claimed that this had a big dose of geranium in it, and he could smell it because his grandmother's, geranium plant or whatever was huge when he was growing up, or whatever it may be in England. I can't speak to say whether that's true or not, but I will say that I would guess that the floral accord here in the regular Aoud was built very, very similarly to the floral heart here in amber Aoud. So they are very similar compositions. Since I like this, it's very easy for me to like this one. This goes more in a traditional rose oud. They really focus on the rose oud saffron here. They claim that the opening has a touch of lemon verbena here, where it doesn't here. Again, they are very similar fragrances to my nose. The synthetics that give it push, this fragrance had, both of these fragrances have push. This one has even more push, the regular Aoud, than this. This is even a little bit more toned down. It's not going to fill a room. This will fill a whole room. This is a little bit more restrained, a little bit more classy. I think the amber is referencing the ambergris, which is really bumped up in this fragrance. I think you do get this animalic ambergris feel. Again, whether it's real ambergris or not, I don't know. The brand says it is, so we'll say it is. And the very first fragrance I thought when I smelled this fragrance is this, the regular Aoud, because I have experience with it. If you've never smelled this, you might smell this and say, this is the greatest fragrance of all time. You might say, oh my God, this blows me away. I love this stuff. I'll pay $700 a bottle or $850 or whatever ungodly amount he's selling the amber Aoud for nowadays. He also put out a fragrance, I should mention this, that's called Aoud Absolute Précieux and Amber Aoud Absolute Précieux. And they're smaller bottles. You don't get as much juice. They're supposed to be more concentrated. Apparently, I've never compared the two, but apparently the Amber Aoud Absolute Précieux is a little bit more feminine leaning, which this is, if you're a guy that cares about stuff like that. I don't. How can a flower have a sex? To me, it's a beautiful floral smell, a beautiful musk smell, a beautiful citrus smell, whatever you like. To me, everything is unisex. I wear Poison, I wear Opium, I wear Teatro alla Scala, all these women fragrances I've discovered and love and all this stuff. So to me, it doesn't matter. But if you are a man that cares about this walks, just so you know, this Amber Aoud walks the line of being feminine leaning, let's say. Okay, that's the best way I can put it. Feminine leaning, because that flower accord is really the star of the show. The oud, to me, the oud to me is there to play, like a skeleton in a human body. It's the spine. It holds everything together. It's there, but you're not going to go, oh, wow, look at that amazing oud that's in this fragrance and compare it to an attar with real oud. You're not going to get that feel, in my opinion. These do not compare to the Russian oud that I smelled from Aoud Ladore, They don't compare to Oud Maximus or Oud Monarch or Mysterious Oud or Lao Oud from Bortnikov. There's just no comparison. The Bortnikovs, the Aries Ladores, if you're looking for pure oud, and that's what you want, this is not for you. This is for somebody that has $850 to blow on a bottle. And they want something elegant. They want something that is Middle Eastern in style, okay? So I've mentioned before that like something like Creed's oud, Royal Oud from Creed, is a very Western oud. It's really more cedar, but they market it as an oud for men and women who want a Western style oud. They want a very clean oud. They don't want dirt. They don't want funk. They don't want it to be like Oud Maximus. This falls more on the Middle Eastern style because of the heavy saffron, heavy rose oud. Women wear stuff a lot in the Middle East. This rose oud combo is worn a lot by women as well. It's not only men. Men are popular for wearing it, but also the women wear it in the Middle East. And so I only say that because it's Middle Eastern in style, but it's not Middle Eastern in funky oud. It's Western style in oud, but the fragrance itself is Middle Eastern in style, if that makes sense. So the, oud is not going to put you off. This is not something that you're going to smell this and go, oh my God, it smells like blue cheese, or it smells like cow dung. No, this is, you can wear this any place, anytime. You'll be one of the most elegant smelling people in the room. But there is a but with all Rojas, and that's the price. You just have to talk about it. Whether, a lot of people say, oh, it's not fair to talk about price because you have to talk about the merits of the fragrance on its own. Well, if that's the case, I disagree, because you have to talk about price when these are priced at $850 for 100 ml. Most of the time, I would agree with you that price does not come into play. You should judge the fragrance on its own. Price is subjective. That's what most people would say. Or what somebody who is in the know, let's say, would say. Price is subjective. Yeah. Somebody who has millions of dollars might not care about spending $850 on a bottle. Somebody that makes 40 grand a year, $850 might be more than their mortgage, and so value for money on this, to me, to somebody like me, is low. Okay. Does that mean it's a bad fragrance? No, I actually really like this fragrance. I like this way better than Musk Oud. Musk Oud was a fail for me. Amber Oud is a thumbs up. If I had a bottle, I would wear it. Absolutely. Would I buy a bottle? No, I would not buy a bottle of this. And the reason is that I still have all of this. I've got, Dusita's ouds. I've got Bortnikov's ouds. I've got, all these other oud fragrances. I've got the night, the moon, dawn, a huge bottle of Promise that I'll probably never get through as long as I live. So if you don't have any of that and you just want a beginner's oud, this is not a dirty oud. This is a clean oud that leans floral with some beautiful ambergris in the dry down. They do mention civet, but it's not dirty to me. Yesterday I wore Koros as my scent of the day. That's civet. That gives you that funk. The other day I wore Furyo from Jax Bogart. I love those fragrances. Bogart's Furyo and Koros from YSL are two of my favorite animalic fragrances of all time. Roja's Diaghilev is a heavy animalic fragrance that I love. This, even though civet's listed, even though ambergris is listed, it's done in the Roja DNA, if you will. Very classy florals, very elegant base. Everything is smooth. There's no round edges. It's not really going to put people off. Even if they're not experienced with fragrances, this is not going to put them off. The only problem that I have with this fragrance, and it is a problem, is that it's sweet. This is sweeter. Amber Aoud is sweeter than the regular Aoud. So if you said, Ramsey, there's 3 fragrances in this line. There's Aoud, There's amber Aoud and there's musk Aoud. Even though all the crazy things you've said about me, Ramsey, I'm going to let you pick a bottle for free because I'm Roja Dove and I'm a nice guy. Which one do you want? I would say regular Aoud. That's the one that I would go with. Now, to complicate things further, he released a crystal version of all three of these because look at the juice color. If I sprayed this on my dress shirt today, this would leave a stain. Hands down, no question about it. This would leave a stain that would never come out. I mean, look at the difference. Look at that. Okay, so I say that to say that he made a crystal version, which they're supposed to have removed the molecules that stain and just leave the fragrance white, and it's supposed to smell exactly the same. I've never compared them. I don't know if that's true or not, but that is the claim, okay? So there's crystal version, there's absolute Precio version, there's, you know, all these different versions, and then he made, you know, Harrods Aoud exclusive, he made Aoud exclusive Pour Homme, he made Sweetie Aoud, I mean, he made all these Aoud fragrances. But from what I've smelled with Roja's, Ouds, they all kind of have this DNA. I even have the discontinued Majestic Aoud, which he was selling for $2,000 a bottle. $2,000 a bottle. We're talking, what are we talking? I don't think any Oud can touch that. It's more expensive than the Night. And they discontinued it, of course, because to my nose, it was more along the same lines of this. You just got this beautiful Roja DNA thing with a lot of violet. The violet in that one's way amped up. The Ironones or whatever they call it is way amped up in that. Versus something like this where it's more about the rose. And a lot of people don't know this, but if you just take regular Rose Absolute and put it in a fragrance, you're not going to get rose. It smells completely different. Rose Absolute doesn't necessarily smell like the rose flower itself. And so the perfumer's job is to take something like this and turn it into a rose smell. And to give credit where credit is due, on Amber Aoud and on the regular Aoud, they did a fantastic job creating this rose DNA. It's one of the most beautiful rose fragrances I've ever smelled, period. Both of these, they're gorgeous. But this one, this Amber Aoud, is sweet. And you guys know me, I usually do not like sweet fragrances. So when I smell this, I think, wow, that's great. That's complex, it's intricate, it's well made. The materials are top quality. I mean, who uses better materials than Roja? Very few houses use better materials. But going back to price, there is a rumor going around, and I won't say whether it's true or not because I don't know, but there is a rumor going around that I heard that came from an industry insider that said that a 100 ml bottle of something like this, between the ingredients, the cap, the bottle, the gold plate, all that fancy stuff, the fancy packaging, the box inside of a box with silk in it, and costs about 35 bucks, 40 bucks to make, right? So you're paying $800 for something that costs 35 to 40 bucks to make. Let's say it's 50. Let's just say it's 50 bucks to make. Think of the markup on something like that. They could easily sell this for $100 and make money. But now it's become a Veblen good. It's almost like getting a Rolls Royce. You know, it's wanted. It's you know, rappers sing about Roja now, right? Whereas before only perfume geeks talked about Roja. Now rappers are singing about Roja. Because it's just go to the mall, go to whatever the most expensive store you can find nowadays is. I was going to say Barney's, but they're bankrupt. You know, go to Nordstrom's or whatever store you like and go look for the most highest priced perfume, and it's Roja. He beat Creed, you know. So people want it just to want it. Oh, I'm wearing a Roja. They might not even appreciate it. They might not even like it, but that's what it's become. It's become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you cut the price to $100, no one would want it. They want to pay $1,000 a bottle because for them, it reinforces their quality of I've made it. I'm a winner. You know, I'm here. I can afford a Roja. Look at me. That's what his brand has kind of become. And so I'm torn on his brand because you know I love some of his fragrances. Diaghilev is one of my favorite chiffres of all time, if not my favorite. I like Danger, even though it's a take on Guerlain's Heritage. I like Fetish, even though it's a take on Bellamy. And, you know, it's kind of one of those things. I like his vetiver, but it's just a chiffre with vetiver amped up. So I feel like a little bit of a sucker paying $500 for 50 ml or $850 for 100 ml. So I will continue to enjoy stuff like this. You know, you pull it out on a special occasion. I wore this to bed once and I'm wearing it today. And look, this is a 2 ml sample that D.L. Qualia sent me. And look at that, I still have half of it left. So, you know, that's kind of the way that I am approaching the Roja brand at this point. I am a little bit hesitant to dive any further into it because I own so many Discovery atomizers, and I own full bottles now that I have hardly put dents in because I'm wearing all my other stuff that I sometimes like even more. So, you know, something like this for me is a pass. I really enjoy wearing it and smelling it, and if money was absolutely no issue, I would just go buy every single Roja there is and just own it just because. But we live in the real world where money is an issue, so you can't do that. You kind of have to pick and choose. And for me, $40 for 60 ml of vintage Lagerfeld cologne is a absolute no-brainer compared to something like this. You could build an entire 100-bottle collection for what you're going to get for one bottle of Roja. So again, I'm not bashing him. I think what he did was what he's managed to do in the last decade is one of the most amazing success stories. Marketers will be studying it for decades to come. How he busted into an industry out of nowhere, created this aura around himself to sell his brand. Some people say he's a genius. Some people say he's a shyster. Some people say, you know, that Roja's the best thing they ever smelled. Some people say that it's shite. But you've got to kind of get your nose on it and make a decision for yourself. For me, this is a great fragrance because I love the floral accord that they created for this Oud line. But it's a floral-centered classic fragrance. This is classic Roja Dove. Sweetened, too sweetened if you ask me, but to a you know, maybe a not as experienced nose, because most people when they start, they like sweet fragrances, right? So most people when they start, their nose gravitates to something sweet because it's easy to digest. It's easy to just smell and like. As your nose matures, you start to appreciate the dry, unsweet, bitter fragrances, but that comes with experience. If you're new and you just have some money to throw around and you want a sweet, well-to-do Oud, Amber Oud is one to check out, absolutely, for sure. For me, I would say it's a pass, but this video basically came with a surprise unboxing. I checked the mail right before I was about to do it, and so I have to say, Duncan, thank you for all of this stuff. This is absolutely beautiful, mate. D.L. Qualia, thank you for sending this to me. Honestly, it's a pleasure to have such amazing subscribers and friends in the fragrance community, and it's all a learning process. I mean, I got so many ideas. You know, this came from my original love for this. I didn't just wake up one day and go, I love Lagerfeld cologne. No, this came from Chris from Scentland. Chris from Scentland, you know, years ago, talked about this fragrance from 1978, and I went, my God, I have to get my nose on that. And it was an instant love. And, you know, I got the new one just to compare, but if you can find the vintage, get it. You know, Lagerfeld cologne, not classic, get the cologne. But, you know, that's what this journey is all about, learning from each other And when you have people who are with you in this journey, a lot of them have their own channels. A lot of them have bigger collections than I do. But, you know, it's a give and take. You learn from somebody, they learn from you, and you each kind of grow in your fragrance knowledge. If you want to know about fragrances, if you want to understand that, you know, this is a classical floral structure, or this smells like regular Aoud, you have to go out there and experience them. You'll never know if you're just sitting on the computer reading notes. It's all about, you know, experiencing and smelling and learning about the history of fragrances. And that's the best way you can kind of further your journey in the fragrance world. So I know a early impression video is now 40 minutes, but I think I'm starting to get a little bit of a reputation for that. So thank you very much for watching. I really, really greatly appreciate your support. And if you have experience with this, please do let me know. If there are other Roja fragrances I have not smelled that you think I should get my nose on, let me know, because I don't have them all, obviously. But at this point, if you said, Ramsey, I'm going to give you a free bottle, I would probably take the regular Aoud, or I'd say forget Aoud, just give me Great Britain. That's actually my favorite Roja that I don't have a full bottle of at this point. But anyways, cheers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another fragrance video. Bye-bye.